G'day and welcome back to the Voice of Veteran podcast. I'm here with Scotty on the rooftop.
G'day, my friend. I know in this episode I have some questions that guys are dying to know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do it. What have we got?
How do you work on those guns? Where'd you get those arms from?
Are you serious? I actually have a funny story about these arms. They used to be bigger. But, mate, literally during high school, I started playing rugby in about end of grade 9. There was a dude on the team who was just like jacked and had huge arms. And I remember like asking him, how do you get huge arms? And he told me like his program. And all I remember was I like went and bought an easy bar, you know, the bent bar. And I was just in Dad's garage. Back then, like you couldn't go to a gym, you know, it wasn't going to a gym wasn't like normal. So I got Dad's easy bar and then load up the weights. And I remember studying that, you know, you should never work out the muscle every day. So every second day, I would go downstairs and max out on bicep curls, mate. Legit.
How's that mentality? You shouldn't do it every day or every second day.
Yeah, well, that was my like rookie entry into researching it. And mate, it got to the point, we're talking about like, let's say bicep curls every second day for a year. And it got to the point whereby like I'm very strong at the arms that we started running out of weights. I started like filling up milk bottles with water and actually like tying them onto the sides, mate.
There you go.
I got very, very strong. But then
adaptation, see, what you do on a regular basis is what you're going to look like. If we're talking about physical activity, you ride a bike all the time, like a road bike. Guess what, bud? You're getting some big legs. Yeah, mate. That's what's going to happen. So
well, I wish I did the same for every muscle group.
So you got these guns cranking now.
Yeah, I got them. And then, I don't know, then I started enjoying the sort of strength that came with having, particularly things like rope climbs and stuff, mate. Back during early military days, I would crush rope, but I was just like, I was all arms. I never had to work out the legs. So legit, that's where the arms came from.
Well, I wanted to open it up with that because I think we chatted on the last episode about what we did on our leave period. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it was our leave period and the times before that. It keeps coming up because it's one of the most important things out there when we talk about mental fitness and physical fitness.
Yeah, man.
It's where I live and breathe most of my work is mentoring and creating programs for guys and especially just the information that people, or the furfies, you know, like you just said. Yeah, you get told one thing. Is it correct, or is it not correct?
It's all changed these days, hasn't it?
Who gives a shit? What about you? I just want to know about your experiences because within the experience is the golden nugget.
Yeah, right?
Everyone has a different experience.
Well, everything's so unique.
Everything's super unique. What works for me is not going to work for you all of the time. Mm-hmm. Right? So, training.
Yes.
Where's it at?
Over the break, it actually got pretty good. I mean, I even set myself during that Christmas New Year period to actually like not be so stressed out about going to the gym. You know, gym's really become a thing to me where I haven't been training as well, so not going to the gym's been more of like a mental toll on me as well. But just having some days off, and you know, on those days off, I probably relax a bit more on my diet and things like that as well, was actually great. As you know, like rest and recovery is so important for the body, and I ended up just like going to the gym every single day type stuff. But definitely got a lot back into an old program that I used to be doing. You know, cardio hasn't really been that existent for me, but actually started doing like fasted cardio again, being that going for a walk, going for a ride, things like that, and getting much more into a proper diligent routine. And as I was saying to you before, then even coming back, I used to always try and work out in the morning because I don't drink coffee, and that's where I have my pre-workout and get my day going. But what's been happening is that in the morning there's always this like big backlog of stuff that needs to be done. So it's been so important for me, work-wise, like emails and messages and everything that comes in overnight. So it's been so important for me to get in there and crush it for that first period. And then when my attention starts to wander or come about midday, you know, go work out, walk the dog, do whatever, and then actually spend the rest of that time getting out and doing everything else during business hours that I need to sustain a life.
Energy levels in the morning though. So if you're looking back at your previous whatever, so if you're training in the morning first up versus training at lunch, energy, what's better? Is that all, or does that all depend on how healthy your mind is?
Yeah, because you know physically I feel tired, but my head's racing as soon as I get up. Yep. So while I might sit there looking like I slept on my face because I do, and be cranking out emails, you know, in the digital space, I'm primed and proper and ready to go. But particularly, you know, I found my morning workouts really dropping off because one, my headspace was somewhere else where it needed to be. And also, like, physically, I was, you know, still waking up. I'm shocking in the morning, mate. Yep. I'm a night owl all the time. Whereas then going from lunch, it gives me that burst to crack through the rest of the day.
You know, something that I offer my clients as you should always trial and error. This is an assessment. This is all we're doing is a self-assessment of what you have done and what you're currently doing and which ones work better. And are there 2 or 3 working models that I can activate during different times of the year? You know, because when you go away over Christmas time, it's a time of the year that you've said, I'm going to chill out a bit. So guess what? Having a strategy or having a working model that works for you mentally and physically is the key. Going back on what I was saying, what I offer my clients is if getting up and getting the momentum behind your emails and behind social and all that works for you in that moment and not working out, so you've replaced working out in the morning with business, can you do a breathing session? So not physical, you're not leaving the apartment, you're not going to the gym, you're doing whatever, but like a meditation or a breathing practice in which you're actually getting the same or a similar chemical reaction, you're getting the good vibes behind it.
Well, that's what I now do. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Cool.
You know, even here in the morning, I'll come out. If it's not raining, I'll sit on the beanbag with my copper dog and just actually do my... Are
you following anyone specific
7-second breathing. No, I just use my Apple Watch, mate. You know, I literally put the breathing app on and do it.
Beautiful.
And I'm not actually the best at meditating. My head wanders too much. But even just coming out here, doing my breathing technique, putting some music on, and just like sitting, and as weird as it sounds, like actually making the effort to watch the clouds fly over.
Yeah.
And I set myself a 10-minute period.
Simplifying thought, but you're using, and your music, you geared it to future visualizations of, you know, like when you listen to that music, it takes your mind into a thought pattern, right?
Well, the biggest thing for me is actually trying to be in the moment because my head is always thinking forward. So I literally use that time to just be enjoying the music.
Be current.
Be current, like present. Feel the breeze, watch the sky, and literally like try and get to my... I literally try and get myself to this childhood place whereby the only thing in the world going on is what's going on around me. It's actually very cool.
Amazing.
And then, it's really hard to do, and it still is hard to do, but just, you know, I giggle to myself saying this because you really have to just focus on, look, if I was a kid, you know, just imagine looking up through a kid's eyes. You know, look at I think of like a copper, my dog. Imagine like him just like, what the hell's dad doing?
So how important that is. If I don't know if I didn't mention it, would you have said it? Like this is part of that routine where like these self-assessments are so crucial, and hearing how someone else has done it or trialing an error of something like that is so crucial, man. Like you get up in the morning.
Things I take for granted, you know. It's not. It's just like my own private time, you know. It's not something that's on social media or things like. It's not something that I think to pass on others. It's just something that I do. Yeah.
Cool. So it's something for you, and you obviously have a morning routine in your kitchen too, yeah? Like you have particular supplements, water, anything that goes in the system whilst or after you're doing this. This is a must.
I wake up and I have a big glass of water. That's my morning routine.
Is that BS or?
No, that's it. I wake up and have that's about my routine in the morning. I try and keep, at the moment I'm trying to do like intermittent fasting, so I try and not eat till about 11 or 12. So yeah, otherwise I avoid the kitchen.
Okay, cool. So that's the current routine, is it, right now?
Yeah.
So you've come back. When you're away at your mum's, you found it a bit harder?
No, even the mums, I was trying to really stick to intermittent fasting. Mum was great though. You know, again, I wake up in the morning and she's got a bloody freshly cold pressed celery juice waiting for me and explains to me how I need to detox my liver and, you know, all that. Mum, you know, then go out the garden and pick fresh produce. And
did you bring that habit home?
I don't have cold pressed juice here.
Okay, it's just interesting because when you go away, and people do this all the time, they could go on a holiday, they could go away for Christmas, family, whatever, change of environment, a new thing that wasn't there before is amazing. It feels great to do, which is the most important thing. You're positively charged and you love it, so you bring it home. You've got to bring it home and you've got to try and put it first in your new routine.
Mate, my nutrition is the worst part of my routine, you know, particularly once I'm working. You know, you literally go whole periods where you just forget to eat, you know, and then it's just, hey, what can I go to get off the street, or what can I Uber Eats? And you know, that's actually the biggest. You know, if I won the lotto tomorrow, the first thing I would do would be buy like hire someone who could provide my meals for me, and like literally like mum, hey, eat. Because as you know, mate, you know, particularly when we're stressed out and working hard and then save it up for those big meals, our body hoards it. You know, I even see like the weight transference to my midsection as opposed to when I'm actually eating regular meals and indeed eating more and higher calories. My body is in that status where it's actually working harder.
See, I'm super guilty of the same thing, working through eating times, right? Not when I'm completely, that's the wrong word, completely focused, but when higher up on the priority list, a body transformation of sorts is at the top of the list,
yeah,
then I will not skip. Like, I have an alarm go off, it'll tell me to eat.
That's what I need to do, alarms.
Right? Yeah, just set multiple alarms during the day and it goes off, and you have obviously the food prep to match that alarm sitting in the fridge, whether it's protein, carbohydrates, greens, fruits, whatever you're currently supposed to be eating, it's there in bulk, because when you have the healthy and the right food that you've planned to eat and it's in abundance, you'll always eat it. When it's not there, you're looking for the next best thing, which is usually not going to be what's on your plan.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right? What is in your fridge will be consumed. What isn't in your fridge won't be consumed. So you've got to place what's on your plan within reach and in abundance, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm super guilty of working through those times as well. So, and I found when I went away, same as you, I was having meals cooked for me. I was eating a lot more than I was. Do you know what happens when we're eating low calories? Everyone has calories in their mind to losing fat. Like, if I eat low calories, I'm going to lose body fat. And if I eat too many calories, I'm going to have body fat. No one looks at muscle, right? So I've been in a habit, easily I could eat one meal a day. I could get up, fast, train, whatever. I could go after lunch every single day, have a meal, and I'd probably get peckish in the afternoon, right? But guess what's happening? It's not so much a body fat reduction, it's muscle mass, right? And I've been super focused on watching particular body mass and muscle mass disappear because I've got an injury right now. And I'm watching what happens to muscles when you don't use them.
Yeah.
Atrophy just completely gets eaten away.
Poor old
However,
quad.
what the body's going to be eating first, if you're not eating a particular type of food and you're not promoting the body to burn body fat as a fuel source, it's going to burn muscle. Mm-hmm. So then if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to burn away muscle. So you can add body fat and lose muscle from not eating enough food.
Yeah, right.
And then when you think of that, you go, okay, that could be the worst thing for me. People just switch to it automatically, don't they? They go, I'm just going to eat less. Ugh. Wrong. There goes your muscle mass.
Yeah, that's what
There goes an increase in fat. Your body's turning down the rate in which it needs to get through food. So when you do eat, like you said, you eat a lot, and therefore you're going to store it. It's a pretty vicious cycle that needs one of these, which is I've done for you now, which is a self-assessment of, okay, I've shed some light on how I am eating and how I am training, what has worked or where I'm currently at, making a new plan, supporting assets around it, and off we go.
This is a full-time job. This is giving me anxiety listening to it. No, but you're right. It's so funny. It's actually stuff that we really used to take for granted, particularly in the military. You know, you'd have set meal periods and you had to stop and go and eat. You know, I even remember like having my pre-made meals and setting alarms, and it's all stuff we used to just take so for granted. You know, I used to literally eat for a purpose. These days, I find myself too easily eating for taste.
Yeah, but dude, you know what? You were a different character.
Yeah.
Right? You were Commando Heston, right? Mm. Commando Heston has to eat and train like this because you are Commando Heston, right? You know what I'm talking about. That specific
I prefer
job.
Commando Heston.
Right.
Commando Heston was
but he's
like
not
a cheater.
him anymore.
Nah,
You're not in the unit anymore. You're not doing that as a job anymore.
I know.
So you haven't connected, as many don't do, is they don't rewrite who they are. Their identity is lost.
Yeah.
And therefore their old eating patterns and habits that used to be attached to the other identity have lost.
Yeah.
So when and how do we create a new identity? And inclusive of that identity is even to the point of knowing what we eat.
Good, mate. How about this all comes into that transition piece. Yes. It's so funny. You know, we have all these conversations at the moment where, again, you and I have spoken about how crap our transition was for defence. Not crap just by given the fact that there wasn't due diligence put to it. And there's transitions in everything. Transitions from employment, education, but even lifestyle. You know, one of the first things you and I know about going back and seeing guys who have gotten out is fitness and nutrition are some of the biggest things to drop off, because some of them might still be training the way they did, but they're eating the way they did beforehand. And the biggest thing is that there's no day job like being in the military that is as active.
But mate, if I've got no clarity of who I am or where I'm going or what I want to be or just exactly who I am, how in the hell do I know how to train and eat it? I don't know who I am.
For sure. What we do is we maintain those same habits and rituals that we had in service, and then we end up leading a much more sedentary life. And the whole just simply, you know, inputs in, outputs out, it doesn't add up. And, you know, a lot of the guys end up putting up some weight. There's that initial transition period where the first year or two, you'll definitely see guys, you know, put on weight. I did myself as well. I was lucky I was just working in and around fitness, but, it's also just educating people. It's like, hey, as you change in life, in role and everything, you actually have to transfer and transition everything else as well.
Absolutely. But that's language to yourself, your internal dialogue or language that you use to tell yourself who you are and what you want.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you say, I'm relaxing, I'm going away for Christmas and I'm relaxing, it reflects how you eat and train as well. Because the relaxed you, a relaxed Heston, has a very relaxed training program, if it even exists, and a very relaxed, well, I don't care what I get fed, I'm just going to eat. Versus, this is what I'm saying, the internal dialogue of who we are, and that if it's so crucial that we come back to this and assess of which direction I'm going or who I want to be or who I am, and then that also he eats a certain way, he trains a certain way, he talks a certain way.
Yeah, it's just thinking it in phases. You know, that's the biggest issue I actually find with like my fitness and nutrition is it's probably the one thing that I don't actually think about in long term. You know, I'm great at planning everything else out long term, whereas my fitness and nutrition is the things I'm expecting like immediate results from. You know, I really haven't put the patience with it because it's also a key provider of anxiety. You know, when you miss a workout, or you haven't had a meal properly, or you just haven't felt off, it starts to, I don't know, but it really starts to wear away into my own head. Whereas everything else, I'm just like, hey, Christmas, New Year's, we're fine. We'll pick it back up, use this time. I'm good at planning out professionally, but personally, that's going to need a lot more patience and actually to apply some more of those skill sets to my own mental health and expectations.
Yeah. You're a dude that's always got things done, right? And I know for a fact if you just went, you know what, I'm going to do this to my body, it'd be done. Like you'd be going in that direction and it'd be happening and you'd be seeing results fast.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that probably like most of our guys, especially like yourself, know that if there's something that we need to do, like a purpose to our fitness, if tomorrow I had to go and do a physical task, like, it'll kill me, but I'll get it done. Yeah. Whereas now, particularly delving into like the more superficial sides of, body transformation and change, it's hard for me when there's no true purpose outside of it being superficial anymore. So I don't really have like a physical purpose that I need to be at the highest level of my fitness at the moment. That's actually one thing that's really fighting with me, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, from experience working with many thousands of people online and creating programs and products, different things, is setting up an event. We used to run events, right? We had those, but it's, you'll read someone else's story and you'll resonate with their story on multiple levels, especially the result that they got. Yeah. And then if that person got that result doing a marathon run and you totally connected to them, guess what's coming up in your fitness environment? You're looking at doing something like a challenging run or a marathon, right? And now your training has purpose and now your eating has purpose and whatever. So they're the things that we need to be aware of, is where we find our motivation. Are we going to live or try and become that particular person in some shape or form? You change your own narrative and then off it goes and it flows.
Yeah. I need a physical purpose right now. I literally need a physical purpose. Yep. I was even just, as you're talking there, mate, thinking back through it all and, always had a purpose, whether it's training up for the military, training up for special forces, training to be the best you can in your role, playing footy out in civvy life, same with you, playing soccer, mate. You're always training for something, whereas right here and now, I'm training for my own personal health and well-being.
Yeah, and it fluctuates up and down. Well, it goes up and down super quick because we battle with mental health issues and work and all these other environments, and it takes a second or third or fourth seat. Yeah. So
I need a competition or something.
Well, have you seen my history since I got out of the military? The things that I've injected myself into.
Yeah, it's just been like physical feat after.
Yeah, but I've done a couple of TV shows which have Ninja Warrior. Yeah. This knee injury came from another television physical.
I'm not doing
show,
Ninja Warrior,
which
mate.
I wasn't on. No, but I had to do exactly that, which was like, what event am I going to do and what physical activity do I have to train for, which has all the elements that it needs to have.
Well, you're going to be exposed. You're going to be held accountable to your fitness standard.
Yep.
There's nothing at the moment holding me accountable to my fitness standard.
When I was in the best shape when I was training for, I was going on stage for aesthetics. So it's bodybuilding, but not as a jacked bodybuilder, just aesthetics, right? So I learned so many lessons during that. Yeah, ultimate, because you're like, I'm going to be on stage in the next 25 weeks. you know, with a row of other guys, and everyone's looking in and you're getting judged and scored. That was fantastic because I learned a bunch. But then after that, there's that period of low. There's that period of what next? What else do I do? I'm going to maintain all these things. That's great, but for how long? Yeah. So what's next? And that's why I needed to keep looking at things. Mud runs are fantastic for people because you can train pre, you can use it post. Yeah. You know, it's all those events.
But see, and this is the probably thing that I know a lot of people, veteran or not, would probably connect with at the moment. You know, my bloody knees pretty much ruled me out of most running these days and most of these events and stuff. And, you know, trying to find a purpose whereby I want to be as fit as I can be, and I want to be as aesthetically pleasing to my own eye at least as I can be, but without some form of a purpose that's like, you know, I'm not going to do an Apex competition. I'm not going to go back to playing rugby. It's trying to find sufficient motivation to actually have that purpose to align with.
The hunt is on.
Yeah.
I'm in.
But that's where a big thing for me has been, you know, even just this last 2 weeks, going back to doing some group fitness. Yep. You know, it doesn't have to be...
There's a smaller version of it. That is great because you are kept accountable to the group. Yeah. It's not in your control. Yep. The negative talk can outweigh the positive and you're not even do it. Yeah. Like it's perfect. It's good.
Even though it might not be, you know, the hardest stuff to do, there's still always those little periods where you can have those moments going, you know, oof, I want to sort of stop and sit this one out. Oh, I just want to like have a break. But that's those little 1% victories that I've found myself, I've just done like 3 classes in the last 2 weeks. Just finding myself, you know, do one more burpee, do one more thing. And then those little small, it felt good that I challenged myself as opposed to, just have a break.
That props up your confidence.
Yeah. That's good. Well, maybe that's just what I need, is keep
well, that's a
chewing on those breadcrumbs, mate.
That's one of my, it's in my, what am I trying to find? It's in my processes, right? Yeah. Is to get the ball rolling. Yeah, that's right. When you can't identify what you want to do, don't be frozen, waiting and trying to look for it. Go and do the thing that gets momentum. Go into a group class. Go sign up for something different, like in a class environment. It could be boxing and you don't do boxing. It could be something like that on a training level that's quite low. We're not talking about going and doing an Ironman or you know, some sort of triathlon yet.
Just find a mate.
You know, find something, and go and hit something different, because without the momentum, we get frozen. Yeah. And in that moment, that goes backwards to places where it's hard to get out of.
I think that's probably the biggest issue is I and guys like myself and yourself are so used to being hyper motivated by huge extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. So intrinsic motivation was our job. You know, for me, being fit as a commando officer, platoon commander, you know, the fitter I was, the more I could focus on doing my job, you know, physically and mentally and emotionally. Now like I was saying before, like I need a competition, I need an event, you know, you got Ninja Warrior and stuff, you know, we have these, we're so used to being able to have these hyper motivational events to look forward to. It's so hard to find the normal everyday stuff.
Yeah, the everyday stuff.
And that's where it's so much easier it's that space in between. We talk about transitions, and it's not transitions from high performance to low performance, it's transitions from high performance to regular performance.
What I was talking about when you tie it into your, not personality, but your identity, is some people have got their identity on lock. Yeah. Right? They're doing their dream job. Perhaps they're a business owner. When they've created that identity, involved with that was how they appear, how they turn up to people, how they look, how they talk, how they operate, how they do it all. And they had that on lock on day one, and they're living that life. And it's not going to change. Yep. They've literally got it locked down. Yeah. It's when your identity starts to shift, or you change direction, or you're in mid-shift. Yeah. This is where that you have to put in the effort. It needs work now. It's not just an automated
you're absolutely right.
wake up and train moment.
Fascinating. This has been a good little session, Scotty. We're going to have to release this one like midweek or something. People need to hear this stuff now. It's been so good. I mean, even this session, mate, you've helped me identify that, you know, particularly everything professionally at the moment, I keep being fortunate enough to have apex or really hyper motivations, those extrinsic and intrinsic coming in, you know, from veterans mental health crisis, wanting to help save more of the boys, through to everything that's been going on in the media. But then in personal life, things like fitness and nutrition gone completely by the wayside because there's no peak requirement there. And I just need to actually grip it all together, sit down and do more self-assessments and actually refocus and realign. And
it's alignment. You nailed it. Thank you. It's alignment between what you're doing for work as a job and what you're doing. You called it, you had a split line then. You said what I'm doing personally. Yeah. You are personally in your work and job. I know I've got you on a point here. You're like, damn it. But it's when they align and you've created enough clarity in that personality of yours and that
The excuses just came out of Heston.
Yeah,
I literally just had these own excuses. Professionally, I'm so busy. Whereas,
what do you mean,
dickhead? If you were actually, practicing what you're preaching, the better you are physically, mentally, and emotionally, your fitness and nutrition, the better you're going to be ready to not only work professionally, but whatever might come up. I can't believe I just had this little win session, little victimhood. This is shit I just need to work through and grip up at my own bloody level.
And to cut that up a little bit though, is practices of visualization, because that's all it is thought of you thinking that you're doing this work. When you turn up in front of the cameras to come, or when you turn up to these events and talk to the guys, how you present yourself, how he looks, that's your motivation to start the training wheel.
But it needs to be more than that. It needs to be as opposed to superficial. And that's it. I'm not putting the right nutrients in my body. I'm not.
Do you want to climb Everest?
No.
Oh, damn
that would really hurt my knee, man.
Yeah, that's a better reason to do it. We've got the same injury. We've both had our knee reattached. Let's do it. I don't know about
you, mate, but I don't like the cold, dude. I really don't like the cold.
Even better reason.
Can we go on safari in Africa instead? That's
even if there's a huge mountain to climb.
I do need to climb a mountain. Need to climb some more mountains.
A valid,
that's what I miss about
something
Afghan.
to train for, which people don't do. And I run these things, don't run them because I'm not physically there, but I promote them. Weekend warrior sessions where it's hiking essentially, or carrying weight.
That is one thing I miss about Afghan, man, was just finding a random hill and walking up it.
Well, this is what I'm trying to get at, especially for the boys and girls that we're talking to a lot of with the veterans. Don't forget the pack march. You don't turn your nose up it, because it was used as a smash session once upon a time.
We're all emotionally conditioned to.
Yeah, but how nice is a hike on your own? Yeah. Where you get up the top of the hill, and instead of sitting out here on your balcony and doing your breathing techniques, you're there and you're watching the clouds from the top of a hill.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Dude, and if you pick a hill that's I'm going to need a little bit of training for that. I'm going to need some legs, some endurance, some whatever. Yeah. Now, tomorrow, what are you going to go and do? Okay, cool. I've got a leg session, some bike. I've got some VO2 max training to do. Yeah. Purpose.
Yeah, I'm with you. Survival purpose, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck on that hill. Yeah, gotcha. Mate, this has been a good session. I really appreciate it. Help unlock a few things.
Absolutely.
We're going to get this one. I reckon we're going to fast track this one.
I unlock stuff in myself by doing this with people on the phone all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because
we just saw me unlock bloody talking to you.
Oh, dude, and same.
Lazy.
You just reignited and reminded myself to go and pick a mountain soon and go and climb it, because it's been a while since I've done a good hill, a real big one. So... Anyway.
No mountain high, no valley low. I don't know why that song just popped in my head. All right, Scotty, this has been great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next time.
Adios.
Ciao. Thanks for listening to the Voice of a Veteran podcast. We really hope that there were some key takeaways that might help you, be they relatable, be they aspirational. But we're not just here for your entertainment, so please make sure you remember, move on, and action from here.
And that's it, guys. If you've heard something here today that has truly helped you, it's our duty to share that information with as many as we can. Support is about being proactive, and that's taking action to better our own lives as well as the lives as many mates as we can.
We love your support getting these messages out, so please subscribe. Go to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Voice of a Veteran. Catch you next time.
See ya.